a transition to IDP camps, while preparations for other POC sites are currently underway. Madam President, despite the progress, South Sudan continues to face several impediments in the implementation of the Revitalized Peace Agreement. It is critical that parties to the agreement work in good faith to move forward on the peace process. The support of AU and IGAD in bringing the parties together will be crucial. On sanctions, we support all efforts seeking to establish a clear benchmarking process to assess the arms embargo, assets freeze and travel ban components in full consultation with the government of South Sudan and other regional stakeholders. The humanitarian situation has remained worrying with flooding in many parts of the country. The intercommunal violence and the resulting displacement of communities, attacks on humanitarian workers and assets, and the COVID-19 pandemic have all exacerbated the situation. The funding gap of $1 billion deserves immediate attention.
The conflict in Syria is primarily political in nature. The fact that the conflict has been so protracted and intractable points to the inevitability of a Syrian-led and Syrian-owned political process. India continues to stand with the people of Syria in this grave hour of need. The 10-year-long Syrian conflict has brought about much suffering to the Syrian people. The country is facing a dire situation compounded by COVID-19, winterization and food insecurity, which is putting into peril the future of 17 million Syrians. The scale, severity, and complexity of humanitarian needs should provoke the collective conscience of the international community, particularly those who advocate linking of humanitarian and developmental assistance to expected outcomes on the political track. We appeal for an assessment of sanctions measures on Syria, since they are considerably aggravating the current situation faced by the people, especially women, children, and the elderly.
Consistently underlined the need for an impartial and objective investigation into any alleged use of chemical weapons, scrupulously following the provisions and procedures laid down in the Convention. As one of the worst sufferers of the scourge of terrorism, India continues to call on the Council to remain cognizant at all times of the dangers of weapons of mass destruction falling into the hands of terrorist groups. We have consistently underlined the need for preventing terrorist groups from taking advantage of the decade-long conflict in Syria and entrenching themselves, thereby posing a threat to the entire region. Reports of the resurgence of ISIS in the region are being heard with increasing frequency. The SG's latest report on the threat posed by ISIL-Daesh alludes to the incubation of terrorist threat in displacement camps and detention facilities in the northeast of Syria. Undoubtedly, the role of certain players in the Syrian conflict has re-energized terrorist activities in the region.